The morning air was cold and quiet at the edge of the small town railway crossing. Mist hovered low over the tracks, and the only sound was the distant cawing of birds. A lonely German shepherd stood near the rusted signal pole, his ears alert, his eyes unusually restless, as if he sensed something unseen drifting toward danger. Not far from the tracks, a little boy named Ethan chased a bright red ball that bounced wildly across the gravel. His laughter echoed through the empty fields as his tiny feet followed the ball without fear, without hesitation. His mother, busy loading grocery bags into the car, never noticed how close her son was drifting toward the tracks. The ball rolled between the iron rails and stopped right in the center. Without thinking, Ethan stepped onto the track, his small hands reaching for the toy. At that very moment, far in the distance, a deep horn thundered through the air, the sound of an oncoming train racing toward them. The German shepherd's body stiffened. His ears shot up straight. His gaze locked onto the child. The breeze carried the vibration of metal and speed. The train was still far, but it was coming fast, unstoppable, ruthless, deadly. The dog broke into a sprint without hesitation, his powerful legs kicking up dust as the ground trembled faintly beneath the approaching locomotive. Somewhere in the silence of that moment, fate held its breath. The train's horn blared again, louder this time, shaking the quiet morning. The ground vibrated beneath the iron wheels rushing closer with terrifying speed. Ethan stood frozen on the tracks, clutching his ball, confused by the sudden roar that swallowed the air around him. The German shepherd ran faster than he ever had before. Every muscle screamed with effort as he leapt over stones and broken rails. Dust filled the air behind him. His eyes never left the child. Not for a second. Ethan's mother turned around at last. The grocery bag slipped from her hand and burst open on the road. Her face drained of color as she saw her son standing between the rails, the massive train now visible in the distance like a charging monster. She screamed his name with all the breath in her lungs, but the sound of the train devoured her voice. Ethan didn't move. Fear rooted him to the spot. The horn grew deafening. The train was only seconds away. With a final surge of strength, the German shepherd launched himself forward, his body stretching through the air as the shadow of the train fell over the tracks. In a blur of motion, the German shepherd crashed into Ethan with all his strength. The impact knocked the child off the rails just as the train thundered past the exact spot where he had been standing a fraction of a second earlier. The wind from the speeding locomotive hurled dust and debris through the air. The earth shook violently. Metal screamed against metal. For a split second, it felt as if the world itself had split open. Ethan lay on the ground several feet away from the tracks, crying but alive. The red ball rolled weakly across the dirt. His tiny hands trembled as he pulled his knees to his chest, not yet understanding how close he had come to death. The German shepherd lay near the edge of the tracks, badly injured by flying debris and the violent force of the rescue. His body was bleeding. His breathing was shallow. Yet his eyes remained fixed on the child, watching, protecting, even as his strength faded. The train disappeared into the distance, and an eerie silence fell over the scene, broken only by the mother's agonizing scream as she ran toward her son. Ethan's mother collapsed beside her son, pulling him into her arms with uncontrollable sobs. She kissed his face again and again, shaking as she realized the miracle that had just occurred before her eyes. People from nearby houses ran toward the scene, drawn by the screams and the thunder of the train. Some covered their mouths in shock when they saw the injured German shepherd lying near the tracks, weak but still conscious. An ambulance's siren soon cut through the chaos. Paramedics lifted the child first, then rushed to the dog. Blood stained the stretcher as they loaded the brave animal into the emergency vehicle. At the veterinary hospital, doctors worked tirelessly to save the German shepherd's life. Hours passed like years. Ethan waited with his parents in the hallway, clutching the same red ball that had nearly cost him his life. Late that night, the doors finally opened. The vet stepped out with tired eyes and a gentle smile. The German shepherd had survived. Weeks later, the town gathered at the same railway crossing. Flowers covered the ground where death had nearly claimed an innocent life. News cameras stood ready. People whispered the story that had already become legend. The German shepherd, now healed but marked by scars, walked proudly beside Ethan, whose small hand rested gently on the dog's back. The bond between them was beyond words, forged in the shadow of death. A memorial plaque was placed near the tracks, honoring the day a loyal dog chose courage over fear. The words engraved into steel would never fade. Here, a German shepherd saved a life and changed history forever. Ethan's mother knelt before the dog, tears in her eyes once more, but this time, they were tears of gratitude. She pressed her forehead against his and whispered a thank you that carried the weight of a lifetime. And from that day forward, whenever a train thundered past that crossing, people remembered the moment when love ran faster than death.